Hey, hello. We are here telling your followers that you started a live video. Good evening, everyone. How are you this evening? It's a wonderful, nice Friday evening. So I am waiting for Melissa. Hi, Melissa. You're going to be joining me. So let's get cracking. Here you go. Go live with Melissa. Hello, Don. Melissa, you should be with me in a moment. I sent you a join.
Hi.
How are you this evening, Melissa?
I'm doing well, thank you. Can you see me and hear me okay?
I can see you. I can hear you. What about you with me?
Very well, loud and clear.
Oh, that's good. That's the whole idea about it. So, isn't it nice?
Oh,
What I normally do when we do that, this is the first time we are doing an IG Live. So, one of the things we do is to make sure that when we start it, we give everybody about a minute or so to hook up and we just chat a little bit about what's going
that's
on,
all right.
what we're doing. And today we had a funny day in Toronto, right? It started out with
Yeah.
snow flurries, freezing rain, whatever,
Yes.
and then it changed to nothing, and now it's great. I went for my walk with Corinne today. She was out walking. So I went
Right.
with her. We went down Camber. We went down to the parkway. We came up Mona. You look beautiful now. You change your lighting.
No, you know what? I'm trying to get the lighting good,
That
so
is
I'm doing a
perfect.
little.
Hello, Yoko. Thanks for joining.
Hi.
We walked up Mona and we came around Tivoli from the other side, and then we came home. And I stopped
Right.
in the house, and thing we had gloves on. It was freezing. So you can imagine
Yeah.
what that was like. So here we are. So our minute is over. Let me see. Yeah, our minute is over. So welcome everybody to my IG Live. My guest this evening is the fabulous and interesting Melissa O. So I could go on Melissa's stuff and I could pick up her bio and I could tell you about all the things she can do. But you know what? Melissa, you can do that yourself. So I learned something this week. Happy Friday, Yoko. I missed you this morning. So I can do this, or I can tell you what happened with Melissa and I. So Melissa's bio is for the public, but one of the things that is intriguing about a guest, when you have a guest, is what is amazing about that particular guest. And what is amazing about Melissa, as you can see, when I met Melissa, I was completely charmed by her smile. She has that awesome smile of hers. Look at it. Just check that smile. Look at those pearly whites. So
Oh,
that was the first thing that charmed me. I didn't know Melissa very well, but hi Donado, how are you? Happy Friday. So when I met Melissa, I thought, wow, what a beautiful young lady. And I wanted to know more about her. But the time didn't permit it. So one of the things that I saw was that smile. And I interesting smile. What a cool, nice smile. What I know about Melissa is that she loves helping others. And
I
that
do.
is one of the things I found out. And I found it out by myself. Like, I like helping others, but Melissa does too. So what she did, I had a conversation with her one day, and I was expressing to Melissa how I wanted to do more social media. And I said to Melissa, Melissa, I really need that. And somebody sweet to her, close to her, said to me, talk to Melissa. She knows how to do this stuff. She'll help you. And I called her and I told her my desire to get on social media and do a little bit more. And she said, you just have to go in. And she told me what to do, a few pointers here and there. And I realized this is a very helpful human being. It's like the person that knows you need a cup of coffee and they bought you a cup of coffee. That was how I felt. So it doesn't matter what's on her bio, what she's done. What I know is how she related to another human being who didn't know as much as she did about social media. So what is funny though, so when I thought of doing an IG Live, I said, let me talk to Melissa. I thought she was going to be a pro. I thought Melissa's going to know exactly what I'm talking about. And she goes, I have never done that. How did you find
No.
that? What did you do? And
Yeah.
so then I said, oh my God, Melissa put me on the treadmill and I took off. And Melissa didn't know that I had gone this far. So I said,
I didn't.
Melissa, you have to try this. And then I convinced her. She was shy. She didn't want to get in. You know, all people who serve others are always shy. Remember Evan Carmichael talked about how shy he was. When Melissa said to me, I have never done an IG Live. I don't know what you're talking about. So there I am with all my fantastic social media common sense, trying to convince her to do this thing. And then she finally said to me, okay, so I did that. I told her this. I showed her. So last night we had a little runoff. We tried to hook up. And then Susie from Coaching with Susie found it and thought I was doing a coaching. And she joined it. I said, no, Susie, go away. We're just trying to learn something.
Yeah.
So going back to the time when I met Melissa, she was walking and she had her young daughter with her, maybe 2 or 3. I don't know where she found information about me. And she said something to me that I cherished and I remember, and I doubt she remember. Can you remember what you said to me the first time?
No, I'm into the story. I can't remember.
You said to me, when I grow up, I want to be like you.
You know what's funny?
You said that when I get older, I want to be like you. And I'm saying, she just met me. How can she say that to me? But
oh my goodness.
I took it and I filed it at the back of my head. And I said, I must be doing something good. You know, when somebody tells you that they want to be like you, that is a huge compliment. Especially if you know all you do is honest. All you do is show. You know, I support my friends on the Movement Makers. When Donato is doing this interview with this guy from Iran, I jumped in and I go, hi, Donato. And Yoko is doing something in Japan. I don't know what she's saying. I go, hi, Yoko. And Susie is there going away. And I don't always get what Susie's saying, but I join in. And so when you said that to me, it made me feel so good that somebody wants to be like me. So all I know, though, is that you're extremely positive. You're full of energy. And that's what, and you like to help others. So I know you are an entrepreneur. I know you have your own business on the side. I know you have several little things that you do. But I also know you have a family, a husband and 2 children, and you have a job, a full-time job. But you have other things on your side. So I have a question for you, Melissa, because that's what we do on the Movement Makers. We try to find out what you do that one of my followers, one of my friends, and myself can learn from. What is it that makes you, as a young, you're a millennium, right? You're still a millennium, right?
Sure, why not?
Why not? I'll take the title. So what is you, as a young mother, that you have decided one job is not enough? I need to take off all these other wonderful things. Tell me why.
Yeah. Before I start, Tessa-Marie, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really, really honored that you asked me to come join you here in this conversation. And just to show you how true that comment was when I said I want to be you when I grow up, if you take a look at my Facebook page right now, to promote tonight's conversation, I did post, I want to be like Tessa-Marie. She's so stylish and fun and so full of wisdom. So it's 100% true. So to answer your question, so what made me as a young mother decide one job wasn't enough and I wanted to take up something else? The story behind that is I was on mat leave with my daughter, Hannah. And I realized that I was going to be out of the workforce for about 18 months because I took the extended leave, and that was before the extended leave was a thing. So it was about 6 months unpaid leave. And I figured to myself, you know what, if I'm going to be out of the workforce for so long, I need to come back with some skills, because everybody else would have been, you know, moved on, would have probably gained some other skills, and I would have been coming back to my same position, of course, loving the fact that I got to stay home with Hannah. And then I sat at the same kitchen table and I remember praying and contemplating about the idea. And then it just dawned on me, right, that, you know what, maybe you should start a small side hustle. Let's see if you can get out of your comfort zone, because it is an area that I wasn't comfortable in. That's me going out and finding, clients to serve. And so just, setting goals for myself, being in sales, that's the S word that most people don't like. So it was just a matter of wanting to gain more skills and entering into the workforce that made me want to take on this extra challenge.
So that was it. But how did you feel? Because a lot of the people in movement makers, like I am an extrovert. I've always been an extrovert. My father said if there was a hurricane named Tessa-Marie, the world would be devastated. So I have always been an extrovert. But a lot of my friends on movement makers are telling me that they're introvert, they're shy, they don't want to be out there. So you did express that. How did you feel when you made the decision? But what made you take action? A lot of us make decisions, but we don't take action.
That's true. Yeah, what made me take action was having a clear goal. Like I knew that I wanted to gain some skills after the time that I was off mat leave. So I knew that I had to get off my butt. Like I couldn't stay. It's good to make goals, but then it's always scary when you have to get out of your comfort zone. So I knew that, I had a certain outcome, and I knew that I couldn't achieve that outcome just staying inside, just being, stuck in my comfort zone. So I had to actually go out there. And I remember the first person that I spoke with, my very, very first client, she was in the neighborhood, and I was nervous and I was scared and my heart was beating and I had hand in the stroller. And so I had to go approach her under the guise of talking about her kids and talking about her daycare, just so that I can open up and just get out of my comfort zone. And today she was my first client and still is my client to this day. But it's actually getting out there and taking that step. And you know what? That one step that I took just opened the door for me to take others, because I've done so much and grown so much as a person just based on getting out of my comfort zone and just taking that one action step. Yeah.
So how so it's all sales, like Donato has said, sales, yes, the greatest skill. It is a wonderful skill to have, to be in the sales thing. And if somebody looks down on it, I go, hello. Everywhere you work in life, you have to sell something. And I know
100%.
But tonight is not about me, so I won't go there. What I want to ask you is, how did you deal with the no's?
Yes. Now, you know what? I could sit and lie and say the no's don't affect me, but you know what? We're all human, right? And so when someone tells you no at the first time, it does sting. But then, I have great mentors, and that's another key aspect to the side hustle that I have, is that I found good people that are able to just steer me in the right path. So now a no is just simply, it be, not right now, this product isn't for them. It's not about me personally. I'll give you a story. One day, again, walking my daughter when I started the business, and I was just putting the catalogs in the mailboxes, I had someone, after I put a catalog, call me on the phone and say, you know what, we're not interested in this service. Don't leave a catalog here anymore, just like that, and then hung up. All right. And then, I kid you not, 5 minutes later, I got another call with another client placing an order of $100. So there it was. If I, went internally and I'm just going to stop this business. These people are telling me no. If I had let that consume me, then I wouldn't have been able to be open to the other clients that I had right now and that other sale that came in 5 minutes later. And 5 years doing this side hustle, people still tell me no. And that's not an issue anymore, because now I know that the world is full of people who are looking for what I have. So it's just a matter of sifting the wheat from the other people that I need.
Well, that sounds like a lot of the instances that I hear from other people that are talking about getting into the business of entrepreneurship, that they find out somebody tells them no and it deflates them for a moment, but something deep inside of them tells them you have to try further. Who was the mentor that pushed you the most?
Oh gosh. You know what? I'm going to say I had some mentors in the U.S. Her name is Lisa. I can't remember her last name right now, but I remember nursing my daughter, and I'd be sitting with a laptop just looking at her videos, trying to figure out, because she was a multi-million-dollar earner in this company. And so that she fueled my belief, she fueled my faith that it is possible in this business to make money if you want to. But it wasn't about the money, it was about her strategies. And I admired how she was such a problem solver, how she was such a go-getter, right? As a single mom with 2 kids. And so she was the one who I would listen to every morning while I'm changing diapers or, doing laundry or something like that. And she would be the one to fuel me. Now, it's a matter of, I have a ton of personal books, so I would say people like Jim Rohn, people like Miles Monroe. Who else am I listening to right now currently? Like, I have a ton of people, like, that surround me. They don't know me, but I know them. I have their books, I have their tapes. So they're the ones that fuel me to keep going, right? In spite of the no's, in spite of the rejection, in spite of trying to make a target, and then sometimes I don't make it. But I don't let that deflate me because I know that I have the solid foundation of my mentors to keep me out.
So with that attitude, how do you get your significant other to understand where you're coming from and to see your vision when that vision is not a vision? Our spouses don't always see our vision. I think my husband was the direct opposite of me. And he used to look at me and say, where do you get this from? Like he thought it was something I went shopping for every Monday morning. So what I want to know is, how does your husband understand your vision, and does it affect him that you have that attitude that you need to do this?
You know what? That's a good question. I think he's used to that by now, because sometimes we're talking and then I'm just spewing out all these ideas, right, that you suddenly have. I think being an entrepreneur, having that mindset, like we think a little bit differently, right, from the other people on the outside. But I'll tell you this story. When I first started in the business, I remember, again, sitting at this kitchen table, and I remember telling my husband, you know what, I think I'm going to do this. And then he said to me, Melissa, nobody buys these products anymore. I don't know if you're going to find customers here in this neighborhood. I was like, all right, we'll see. And I kid you not, when clients started coming to the door with money and picking up their orders, and then he saw my phone ringing of people ordering, and then he saw what was happening, product moving, right, and some side income coming in, then he's like, wait a minute, this is a real thing. And now he was helping me putting out books. He was bringing catalogs to his neighbors, to his workplace. He was telling friends. So I think it's a matter of your spouse probably seeing the results, and probably a matter of them seeing your desire. So I treated the side hustle, and I still do, like a business, right? I dedicate a certain time to it. He saw my dedication. He saw the passion that I'm putting into it. And not only that, he saw people coming in. So once he saw the clients coming in, once he saw people interested, and me being a professional businesswoman going out there, how I talked to and interacted with the clients, then that fueled his belief to now where he's at a point of being supportive.
So you had to show him that you meant business for him to understand your business.
100%.
Okay. So once he saw the flow that you had taken, and you were consistent and you were stuck on, he jumped on board and he supported you. Is that what you're saying?
That exactly. Because if I treated this like a hobby, then it wouldn't be anything for him to support me, because it's, I didn't treat it seriously. So why would he take me seriously?
One of the things that sometimes as an entrepreneur we fail to understand is that we cannot make somebody see the vision that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So it's no point. There's a saying in that field that somebody said, you don't tell them what you're going to do. You show them your results.
Yes. Yes.
And the people only understand what an entrepreneur is thinking because of what their results are. And so what do you do when you meet a young entrepreneur or someone who wants to start a business? What is the advice would you do to that young person? Not you, because obviously you had it in you. There was a drive within you. There was something nurturing, pushing you. But if you met somebody that's 19 and they say, all I want to do is to have my own business, what would be the first 3 things you would ask them to do? Well,
my first question would be, you sure about that? Because I meet people, You know what? I meet people all the time who say that they want to own a business. If you talk to someone down the street, I'm sure 9 out of 10 people tell you, I want to own my own business, Tessa-Marie. I want to be my own boss. But I was listening to, what was I listening to? A podcast yesterday, and the speaker said something interesting, and I would repeat this as well to someone. If you want to have your own business, then you should work for someone who has a business. I would recommend that, because then you'll be able to see what goes behind the scenes in terms of running a business. Also, the type of worker that you are, the type of employee that you are, would also be an indicator of the type of business owner that you will be. Because you can't be an employee that's slacking off, that's not faithful with the resources that your employer has. You can't be that employee and expect to have a business, you know, later or on the side that will be successful, because what you do as an employee transposes into what you do as a business owner. So the type of employee that you are, type of person that's good at managing resources, that will bring in clients for your boss, that's the type that will be, you know, just simple things like on time, faithful with resources, that kind of thing. I would say be an employee first, be a good steward first. Manage someone's business first, and then you will see, when you decide to have your own business, then your chance of being successful would be a little bit higher than those who are just, you know what, slacking off at work but still want to have a business. So that would be my main advice to someone, because I've also seen that in myself. Having my business on the side has also changed the way that I operate and work in my own business. One of my mentors calls it being an employeepreneur. So you're training yourself as you are an employee to become a business person if you choose to.
Wow, that is so powerful. Wow. So you call it an entrepreneur,
Employee.
So
right, employeepreneur.
An employeepreneur. So what you're saying, your job as an employee is preparing you to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
That
And you know
so
what?
strong.
And as a woman of faith myself, there is a passage in the scriptures that say, when you're faithful with the little things, then you'll be made ruler of much. So if you can't be faithful as an employee, which, you know, would be, let's say in the grand scheme of your plans is the little things, you can't be faithful with your job, then why would you be made ruler of a company? Why would you have your own business, right? Be faithful with the little, prosper where you're planted, and then you'll see yourself blossom.
Wow, these are powerful words, you know, because as a person who is an entrepreneur, hearing you say those things and looking back and see how they perform today. Let's say there's a person who has a job, who wants to be an entrepreneur, and is looking at how they perform at their job today, because in their mind, they're thinking, I am out of here. I am out of here in 6 weeks. I'm out of here. I'm going on my own. So what you're telling them, what you're doing now is preparation for their future. So what tips would you give them as an employee that they can harness and take over to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I would say, you know what, put yourself in the position of your boss or your manager. Every company needs customers. So if I'm working, let's say, at a factory, for example, you'd be think outside of the scope of your job. What can you do to bring in clients to this business? Because it's those clients that are paying your salary anyways, right? So what can you do? So I'll think of that strategy. I'd also think of ways to save the company money. Right? Even though, and you know, you have to get out of the mindset of what's in it for me. So you're not going to expect, I would say, don't do it out of the mindset of getting a bonus, because that's going to be the residual, right? When you being a good employee, that's going to be the residual. But thinking outside of what your job is what I would recommend. So bringing in clients, ways to save money, ways to boost morale in the business, right? Thinking of other ways that the company can improve, bringing ideas, or maybe going to your manager or your boss to say, listen, how have I been performing? How can I improve, right? Being a leader among your coworkers. Like, these things all are good skills to have when you are an employee, and they will help you as you try to transition into having your business. Because I do believe that you get what you attract, right? If you're the employee that's always slacking off, that's grumbling and complaining, okay, fine, you have your business, but what type of employee do you think that you're going to attract as well?
So
right?
what I get from what you're saying is that as an employee, the habits and the skills you develop as an employee, you can take that and move to when you become an entrepreneur.
100%.
Okay, so as an entrepreneur, and I have all these wonderful skills, how do I tell my employees, no, I am the boss, I am the entrepreneur? How do I get these guys to see the vision that I have for my company?
Now you're getting into leadership questions.
You should know better than that.
What? I didn't.
You should know I'll go there.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna preface this by saying I'm solo by myself, right? But I do have a little leadership position in my day job. To get the employees to see your vision, I would say, you know what? It's just a matter of communication and a matter of listening. So I would say just be open. I did have just a quick chat with one of my new coworkers today, and she asked me, or, you know, what was, as a new leader, what was the vision for the team? And then I sat there and I actually did have a step-by-step vision written down that I communicate to everyone. Like, this is where I see the team going, and these are the people, you know, with the skill sets that I see that could help this team move forward. So I would say it's just a matter of communicating with your team members.
Okay, so now you talked about communication and listening. Of these two skills as a leader, because when you become an entrepreneur, you are it. The buck stops there. So, but as a manager too, they have a thing in business, they say the shit comes down, right? So as a leader, this thing shows up: communication and listening. Well, how would you rate those two skills?
Gosh, I would say listening first, based on one of my my mentors. And that was, you know what, you're just asking questions that just happened like a couple of days ago. So yeah, you know what, listening 100%. And even as a business owner with my clients, I tend to listen to what they're saying as well. So I always tell my kids that less talking, more listening, because that's where you get to understand the heart of a matter. That's where right now I'm working on understanding people better, right? Trying to understand the different types of personalities that I'm working with. And so I find that by listening, I get to hear their key points, whether people are analytical, whether they are more feelings oriented, right? Whether they're, you know, more goal oriented. So I would say listening would be top of my in my skill sets to learn.
So my next question follows the listening skill. So as an entrepreneur, you have an employee, and that employee is not the ideal employee. And then, but there's a caveat attached to that employee. The caveat is that employee is your brother's son, and because you started your business, your brother thinks you can hire this person. How do you discipline? Because we all, when you're an entrepreneur, the minute you become an entrepreneur, family thinks you can hire the whole damn family. That is what they think. You know, give Johnny a job. He never wanted to finish high school. Help him out. How do you manage an employee that has a family relationship? What would you suggest? I know you are not in that, but you are in a position where you maybe can look at it and say, how would I coach my sister's son?
Right.
Because you're doing it because family is looking at you, quotation marks.
Right. And it's family, so you got to still see them on the weekends and at family dinners, right?
Yes.
So, but you know what? At the end of the day, if the employee, I think I would separate it, right? Because he's still an employee, still representing the company, right? Whether he's on the job or outside of the job. So at the end of the day, I would say if it's affecting the morale or the bottom line of the company, then you still would have to have that difficult conversation as you would if he was an employee that you weren't related to. I think in this case, this is just my opinion, I think it would be a little bit easier for me because it's family, so I can pull them aside and perhaps be a little bit more like straighten up, or perhaps provide a little more coaching, right? And the side, I mean, I still would if it was an employee that wasn't related to me, but at the end of the day, it's the business, and the business still has to thrive if it's bringing in an income and if you're feeding other families, if other people are depending on it. So you still need to give that more coaching. And if it doesn't work out, then you'd have to make that tough decision, family or not, Tessa-Marie.
You have to make the tough decision. So what about of the person who have decided to make this tough decision at the end and said, no, I am not going to hire family, nepotism?
So they're saying they're not going to hire family?
Like my sister, your sister, brother, Donato's,
right.
and Coco's brother, and Nisha's and Faith. Family comes and say, I need you to give my son a job. So how would you feel saying, no, I am not going to hire family?
Well, you know what? It all depends on his skill set. So if I know that my nephew is, if he has the skill set, he has the good work ethic, I know he'd be a good contributor to the team, then I would treat him just as I would if it was any other person, as opposed to, if he's not a good fit for the company, then he's not a good fit. So for me, I think with my personality in this case, when it comes to business, I'm going to give it to you straight. It's either you're a good fit or you're not a good fit, whether family or not. So that would be my straight answer.
That is great. What happens now when I'm just going, because as an entrepreneur, that's all those guys that are watching you tonight, they're all entrepreneurs. They're all they all want to be you. So what I'm trying to say to you is that, what about your top tier employee? You have a top tier employee that's not related to you, and you bring your niece, your nephew that is slacking off, and they come to you and they say, you know what, Melissa, your so-and-so is not doing the job. How do you balance this? Because you have this person that is producing for you constantly. You brought this person in because you have to, or you think you must.
Yeah.
How do you manage? How do you balance this?
For me, I think it's about respecting that top tier person. That person who's been here longer, that person who's producing more, because they're the one, I would say, that everyone's valuable to the company, but that person has that value because they have that knowledge transfer that they can use to, keep that business growing. I would say it's still a matter of bringing in, like, if they reported to me that my nephew wasn't, producing well, he's not a good fit, then I would have to go with what they say. Because again, if I'm the CEO, for example, they're the manager, they're there daily, they're seeing the operation, they know the day-to-day function. So at the end of the day, if my nephew's not a good fit, based on what my manager, the top producing tier person, says, if it's, and again, if it's warranted, you have the facts to back that up, we've done the necessary coaching, then I'm going to believe them. My nephew and niece got to go.
Okay. So I get that. So the next question I have, how would you recommend to an entrepreneur to not express, but to I'm looking for the proper word, not to express, to show them the vision that you have for your company? What are the tips you can give an entrepreneur? How do I express to my new employees, this is my vision? How do I do that without making them think I'm going to be pounding on their head?
No, you know what? This comes back to the listening skills, and that will help you determine the type of person that you're speaking with. So for example, if I'm speaking with someone who, I describe them as pearls. These are people who want to help other people. They're more, they're more giving in that nature. So I would frame my vision along their lines. So for example, I would say, my goal is to help women, bring in more income in their families or gain more confidence. I'll just speak their language is what I'm trying to say. So I'd speak their language to include them in my vision. So instead of saying, this is what I want, and I've had to learn that the hard way. So instead of saying, this is what I want and communicating in a way that comes down on them, I've learned to now speak their language by listening to how they speak, what their needs are, and to include them into my vision.
So from what I gathered of our conversation so far is that you rate listening higher than anything else. Listening
I do.
to the people that you communicate with, or listening to your employees or your suppliers and your customers.
I do, yes.
Okay. So in closing though, what is the one thing you would tell someone who has this vision of this company? What advice would you give them? What would you tell them is the first thing they should do?
You know what I would say, and this would be what my mentor said, forget your company and the product. The first thing that you should do is work on understanding people, because, and what they say is so true, once you understand people, because people have your money, people have your promotions, that's where your profits come from. So once you hone your skills in understanding people, then the products, the company, everything else would come after. Because to me, and I've seen that is the hardest part, is understanding those around you. So I would say gain the skills of understanding others, different types of people, because you got to work with different types of people, right? So understand people, and then the rest will follow. That's my number one advice.
So I'm going to ask those that are still on, if any of you have a question for Melissa, one question, not a statement, make it a question. What would you like Melissa to say to you? So don't make a statement. Ask Melissa a question that is pertaining to you and your business. We will continue to talk for a few more minutes, and she will take your question. If you send a question in the comment, there's a question button, so send a question, and Melissa will try to answer it. Don't make it, you know, just a question about as you want to be an entrepreneur, or you want to start your own business, or you want to just correct something that you're doing. So Melissa, so while somebody's thinking, if we get a question, we'll take it. If not,
yeah.
So
we'll just chat.
We'll just chat. So one of the things that I found out, like from all what you talked about, is that you seem to be very engaged and very aware of what an employee and transitioning into an entrepreneur who ends up being an employer. So the question is, did your company have any programs that you learned from, or you went to courses that taught you how to transition from an employee to an entrepreneur employer?
My company, not necessarily. They didn't have a specific program that would allow that, but it's this coaching from this other coach that I found. Do you want me to just mention where I found yeah? So there's this lady that I found. Her name is Danny Johnson. And she talks, I mean, none of this that I just said tonight comes from my brain. This is just her. And I found her coaching to be so practical, and it works. So I just discovered her online. You know, when you're searching in the internet, it takes you down a rabbit hole.
Yes.
And then right? So then I found her, and I found her videos, and she is she's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Let me just tell you that. She's very loud. She has her opinions. But you know what? A good point she always says is weigh your ego. Put your ego aside.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Right?
You know,
yes.
There's somebody listening that came on earlier, Faith, and she always talks about the ego. Put your ego aside.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So it's not about you, right? So you're here I'm here to learn. And so it's not about whether or not I like her, whether or not I like her opinions, but it's about whether or not I'm here to learn and I'm here to be open. So that's the coaching that, you know, changed my mindset from being, and Tessa-Marie, I'll tell you, I was like on the verge of, you know what, I need to find a new job. I could do so much more if I'm, you know, in this position. But again, it's this prosper where you're planted, when you're faithful with a little. And I began to develop that mindset from the coach, and everything just shifted. So I would highly recommend Danny Johnson.
That's good. So you guys, I haven't seen any questions, so we must have answered all of your undying questions. I checked it, and I check again just in case. So the questions from your viewers will show up here. There are no questions, so I realize you have none. But Melissa just gave you a tip.
Oh, hey, Nisha.
And I think it was a fabulous evening. I mean, it's gone on for 45 minutes almost.
Oh, really? Yes. You know what? I was so worried that the time would be, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can talk for 40 minutes, yeah. But I can't believe it's 45 already.
Yeah, but you see, it's the ability to you're engaging. And I told them before, I told them Melissa has a smile and she has an attitude of giving. So you guys, you must have found that she gave you a lot. So that is one of the things I learned from the movement makers. Actually, I learned it today. Evan said that it's no point we talk about the person's bio. Talk about the person they bought a cup of coffee for you. I talked about how when I met you,
Yeah.
I didn't know you were walking with your daughter and you saw me outside and you stopped to chat with me. I didn't know you. And you must have observed me for a while and I didn't even realize that. And when you said that to me, I went, wow. And I have never forgotten that. And of course,
Still to this day.
Mother, I don't see that much of you. But it was an amazing thing. And I don't forget those type of experiences. And I try to express that to people. It's not what the person has done for you, it's what the person has said to you.
Yes.
Or what the person thinks about you. And that, you know, and that is what is important. And that's one of the things I try to make sure that people understand. So the thing is, I did not tell them of all the gifts and the talents you had and all what you did. But in this conversation and in answering the question, so honestly and truthfully, you were able to help them. And I'm sure there are people who listen tonight that got something. I always say, when you do something or when you're listening to something, make sure you're getting a nugget, a golden nugget, a rare black pearl, or a pink Canadian diamond. You must get one of those. And if the conversation does not give you that, then it wasn't the right conversation for you. So tonight, I got a lot. I learned a lot more about you. I am so honored and I'm so blessed and I'm so grateful that I asked you to join us tonight. So guys, thanks for joining.
The honor is
and
mine.
Melissa, I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know.
I did.
Isn't that nice? So
I did.
So what I offer when I do this, anytime I ask somebody to come live, I ask them if they want to have a chat with me and to question me, they can plan it. And the time is usually to sit there. Yoko wants a pink Canadian diamond. Way, Yoko. Good for you, Yoko. Good for you. You got your diamond. Good job, Yoko. I am so glad you got your Canadian diamond. So go. So there you go. Good, Yoko. So that's what it is about. You know what? You have to get it. So you have an opportunity. If you want to ever have me on, you can have a series of questions. You can bring another guest and you can have your guest question me. So it's really up to you. But it's a fab. Yoko, did you enjoy the evening? I hope when you got a diamond. Yoko is always So take care, guys. And Melissa, remember you have the opportunity to DM me and tell me if you want to do that. Or if you know any of your friends, like you had a friend on, if she's interested and she has something to offer or to help. Because as you know, knowledge is not yours to keep.
That's right.
What we know, we must share. So if anybody else wants to share, DM me and I'll be happy to have a few moments with you. It's a one. I'm so happy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And have a wonderful evening. And tell Robin I am so proud of you.
Thank you. I will.
Okay, take care. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Bye.